Hey guys, welcome to another welcome to another episode of Tampa Bay Real Producers Podcast. This is the podcast that is also powered by Top Producers Nation. It is the podcast that is made for real producers by real producers and with none other than Tampa Bay's real producers, such as our guest today. This is Bailey Vasti. How are you, Bailey?
I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you here today. You might have recognized Bailey's face on one of our featured spotlights recently. Bailey was our Rising Star article in our February of 2024 issue. So just literally last month, as I can't talk anymore,
I'm
of course.
rubbing off on you.
Yeah, no doubt. I guess so. So Bailey, let's start with just your story. I mean, for people who really, maybe they read the article, maybe they didn't, but we'll start a little bit with just how you got to Tampa Bay. Did you grow up here? If not, how did you get here? Okay. And then eventually, how did you get interested in real estate?
Born and raised here. So my grandfather was even born here and went to St. Pete High, but we all went to my mom, my aunt, my uncle, my grandma. We all went to the same schools. My grandma taught at all those schools. So just a really, we have strong roots in the St. Pete area. Sounds for sure. And for real estate, I got into it about 8 years ago, and it was something that I always wanted to do because I love our area. I love our city. I'm incredibly proud and feel very blessed to live here. And love people, love relationships. And I've just been so interested in homes and helping people find their match. And real estate was just something that really, I had just honestly always wanted to do it. And sort of jumped in. Was there anyone else in
your family that was in real estate?
No.
So you were the first?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said you got licensed 8 years ago?
8 years ago.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. And now, if I remember correctly from your article, you were doing it part-time at first, right?
No, I started one day and I was going back to work. I had 2 little ones at the time, my 2 youngest, and wanted to get back in the workforce. Did not want to go back to the corporate world when real estate was something that I had always wanted to do. And I had tried to get my license before, but with 2 small little ones, it just wasn't going to work. So I waited and then 8 years ago, decided that this was what I was going to do and just honestly went all in.
Did you?
Okay. And all in it was.
Now, what was it like for you in that first year or so?
Terrifying. Oh my gosh. Terrifying. I mean, I was so nervous just to even take the test. I was so, this was like what I wanted to do. So failure was just by no means an option. And there's just so many personal things that kind of went into me doing this part of it and getting into the real estate world. But when that first year I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what to expect.
Did you join a team or did you have a mentor in the beginning?
I never.
So you were figuring a lot of it out on your own.
I wanted to do it on my own.
Right.
Because I knew I could. I needed to figure it out on my own. I needed to do it on my own. I was very blessed. I had a lot of incredible people that were around me that were willing to help and wanted to help. And I took full advantage of, just really being a sponge to all the knowledge that they had because they were really good at what they did.
Yeah.
They're still really good at what they do. And I admire them and I still keep in touch with all of them. But they, I shadowed them. I watched them. I learned from them. I followed them. And there were agents that I followed when I knew I wanted to get in the industry, but I wasn't in it yet, just watching what they did and how they did it. And I even called them and just said, hey, look, I just got my license. This is something, what kind of advice do you have for me? And they were all incredibly humble and kind and wanting to help.
That's good to hear.
And
sometimes there's
like
a feeling
that.
I think out there that agents are cutthroat and competitive and not
there's
wanting to see.
There's some that are like that,
there
of
are,
course. But there's so many good ones. There really are.
It's been our experience too with real producers. A lot of the top people seem to be the ones that have that heart to want to share and give. And
probably why they're successful too, and why they stand the course of time. Because like I said, the ones that really helped me when I started, are still the top agents, and we still keep in touch, and they will still answer questions if I have them. But there's so many good people. There's so many good agents,
no doubt,
out there.
Now, if you don't know, Bailey is with Next Home Lux Coastal, right? And Bailey, just last year alone, by the way, in 2023, did over $42 million in volume. With 20-something units is what we saw. So there's a luxury side there that I know you've had a lot of success with. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Was that your best year ever last year?
Last year was
2023. Yes. Awesome. Which again, for many agents, that was a struggle, a down year for many. And so Bailey obviously had a nice breakthrough year last year. Let's talk a little bit about just the evolution of your business. So I don't know if you remember what you did in your first full year.
Oh yeah.
As an agent, what did those numbers look like? Do you remember?
My first year, I think I might have done 5 million maybe.
Okay.
My first year.
Now, has it gradually just kept growing year over year? It has. And so what would you attest that to? Just the relationship development or anything else?
Confidence, I think, for sure. And yes, absolutely, relationships. That's something I've always, prided myself on, is just the relationships that I have with people. But I think that the longer that you're in the industry, the more people are familiar with what you do. And, now it's been 8 years. So I feel like now, there's a lot of people where I've sold three homes. It's that time where I've sold them something, or I help them get into a home, and, now they're looking again. But a lot of it is just your word of mouth by people that you've worked for, that you've helped. And then they start talking about it, and most of it has been just referral based. The vast majority of it.
Is there a specific niche or an area of Tampa Bay that you get most of your business from?
Mainly waterfront. I will go anywhere and sell anything. But I would say the vast majority of my business is waterfront, from like probably Terra Verde to Clearwater.
And you live over there? Okay.
Yeah.
So, were you focused on that as a target from the beginning, or did that evolve as well?
I always knew and wanted the luxury market to be something that I did. So I wanted to do focus on higher end homes and less transactions. I'm still a mom and I'm a wife, and those are, I will always say those are the two most important things for me. So I wanted to be able to, and for my business, to offer more of like a boutique style business where I will only take on so many listings, because I want the people to work with me and I want to work with them. Like, there's things I don't want to let go of just because I thoroughly enjoy them. You know, I thoroughly enjoy showing buyers into homes. I thoroughly enjoy walking an agent through, one of my listings that's maybe not familiar with the area, so that I can brag about how awesome this particular area is, or brag about the home, or just getting to meet them. So I like keeping it less so that people can always get a hold of me. I know what it's like, and I've worked with agents that have so much going on that it takes them a day or two to respond.
Totally.
And you'll
it's totally
hear
different
from
business
me.
when you're dealing in like hundreds of transactions versus.
So I didn't
20,
want that.
25
I wanted to, obviously I want to make a good living, and I want to be able to take care of, my family. Like, that's something I've always wanted to do, and been able to do. And I wanted just to keep it small so that I still have the time to do the things that are the most important, which is family and mom.
Yeah. So let's, I think there's obviously an expertise here that you have in dealing with the luxury seller and buyer, right? And you've been kind of perfecting that, I would say over these years, or continuing to work on it. What are some things that you've learned specifically about that niche that you think would be relevant to share, to people that might want to get into selling luxury real estate? I'm sure you've also dealt with what you would consider to be the non-luxury market in some capacities.
Gosh, yes.
But there are some differences, wouldn't you say, between the two?
I think that there tends to be a misconception that the people are so different if they're able to qualify for, a $3 million house versus a $500,000 house. And I try to take all the zeros out of the equation and just treat each transaction in a very personal manner. But I think that it's important when you're selling, I mean, whatever you're selling, I mean, if it's higher end homes, if it's middle class homes, if it's, whatever the case may be, is to totally get yourself into that environment. So, knowing just becoming a part of whatever that type is that you're selling to, if that makes any sense. So where are those homes specifically? Where do they go to school? Where do they eat? Where do they shop? What do they like to do? And just embracing and getting involved in whatever area that is.
And so is that how you built your network, is just community involvement, getting connected with various groups in the local area?
Yeah.
Is that how it started to snowball for you? Is that where your lead flow comes from?
Yeah. I mean, it started with just friendships and family, and us, with just one person giving me a shot.
Yeah.
And I took full advantage of that shot. And I mean, I felt like I perfected every step in that. I mean, I gave every single step from beginning to end. I mean, I just tried to perfect that spot. They had such an incredible experience, the seller and the buyer, in that particular situation.
You represented both?
I represented the seller, but and it was my first it was my first $1 million listing. I'll never forget it. And it was a couple. They had known me since I was, I think, 8 years old, and they really gave me a shot. They believed in me. They knew my work ethic just from my past jobs and just from me and how I was as a person. They knew, I mean, I was literally going to give them everything, and there was going to be nobody that was going to work harder to sell that house than I was. And I was 100% confident in that. They knew that too. And they knew I would do whatever it took. And I did. But then it was just such an awesome transaction. I mean, I'm actually friends with the people that bought the house now. And they follow me with business now and things like that. So that just turned out to be such an incredible experience. They referred me to someone else. Then those people referred me to someone else. And it just grew from there.
Did you say earlier that the vast majority of your business right now is through referrals?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
Absolutely.
Cool. Do you do anything else like lead gen, other strategies, or not really?
I don't. Okay. This is going to be the first year where I'm starting to do like heavier marketing. And a lot of the things I'm doing this year is really just to kind of get out of my comfort zone, and just be better at other areas that maybe I'm not so good in, or things that I need to be, I need to perfect more. And that is more of like lead generating and business. But I honestly didn't want to I was so busy that I, at the time, didn't think I could even handle anymore. And I didn't want to be that person that brought, for me, again, I felt like I have a lot in my life to manage already. And I didn't want to bring more people on to manage that as well. I just wanted to sell houses, and I wanted to work with buyers. That's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to manage anyone else. Yeah. So that might change, but at the time, I mean, like I said, I really like all aspects of it, minus like the compliance and paperwork stuff, stuff. But like just being with the people, being with the buyers, and being with the sellers, I love it. So I want to be. So
what are some of the things you're changing this year?
Well, saying yes to this.
Which we're glad you did.
I'm too. The panel, doing that, because I'm very much, I like being one-on-one, but I don't like the attention per se. So that makes me nervous.
You were great on the panel. You crushed it.
But I don't like, it makes me nervous. Those things make me nervous, the attention part. But I love being with people. I just don't like it being
spotlight on you.
Yes, I don't care for that as much.
So you're telling me you don't want to get nominated for Rising Star of the Year?
No. It's nerve-wracking for me. Which is so funny because I used to give talks in front of hundreds of people all the time growing up. So I don't know why I don't know. I like sharing in moments. It's just hard for me to be the center of it, I guess. So things like that, more marketing, putting my name out there more, looking into possibly growing a team, and just doing a lot of due diligence and things like that. sort of preparing myself for is that something, like just really kind of zeroing in on if that's something that I want.
That you really want to do.
Yeah, that I want to do.
You mentioned some of your past jobs earlier. What did you do prior?
Sold software.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's a corporate position? Okay. So
traveled all the time.
9 to 5 type role.
Oh, I mean, it was more than that. But yeah, I
right.
traveled
Always
all the
is.
time and managed a division for the Southeast. So I traveled a lot and I did the management portion. But I like being in control of my own destiny. So I like being the one I like making the money. I like being responsible for myself, if that makes sense.
And how long were you in that industry?
Almost a decade.
And did you always kind of have this inkling that you were going to eventually break out and do
always
your own
wanted
real
to
estate
do real
thing?
estate. Always.
Yeah. Was there ever was there a specific like moment as to what caused you to finally make that decision and make the jump?
I was helping people find houses and not getting paid for it. So I would be the one.
Just friends?
Yeah,
who
friends.
knew you liked real estate, you mean?
They were buying something and I'm like, well, let me look here. Did you check out this area or that area? And then helping them. I'd be on Zillow or realtor.com, trying to find them houses, driving by the houses, looking at for sale by owners, telling them how, if they were getting ready to sell their house, what they should do to it, or how to minimize the things in the home, how to stage it.
You were basically their agent without being their agent.
And I loved it. I'm like, well, this is kind of crazy. I was caught in a sort of a point in my life. My ex-husband one day came home and said, hey, by the way, I'm going to put all our money back into the business. And so you're going to have to go to work again. I'm like, and he wasn't going to take a paycheck anymore. And I'm like, all right. So if I'm going to do this, I'm not going back to what I was doing before. I'm going to do what I always wanted to do. And we're just going to have to figure it out. And I did.
And it worked out.
And it did.
That's cool.
Yeah. But that's why failure wasn't an option at the time. I had to, I had to take care of things. So
yeah, you wonder how many people are out there that have maybe an inkling that they have a desire that they want to go after, but there's just a lot of fear built up as to why can I really do it, especially when they have a family and they have kids and they know that it's affecting a decision like that's affecting more than just themselves, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's terrifying and I feel like it's just now, and it doesn't mean that I still don't get nervous about things, but I feel like just now, and it's been 8 years, and I am in the point where, okay, like I know it goes like this. I know that that's just sort of the industry. I remember a time, I think it was during COVID, it was like 2020. And I remember thinking it was April and I hadn't sold a house yet. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've got this to take care of and this to take care of. And what if I don't sell another house this year? What if, because the phones just stopped ringing for like 3.5 weeks, right? Nobody was like wanting to see homes. Nobody was wanting people inside their homes. If you had listings, it was kind of terrifying. And then it's like something kind of clicked in my brain. And then all of a sudden, I don't know if I manifested it, but the phone started ringing. People were allowing you back in the house. And I went on to have the best year I had yet that year. And then it was like same thing last year,
Everybody from the States that they were getting locked down, they were like, time to go to Florida.
That's it. And then it just kind of hasn't stopped since then. So I realized that this industry is very much, you have highs and you have lows, and you just have to stay the course and just keep focusing on doing the things that you started doing when you got into the business. I feel like if all else fails, just go back to the basics.
Yeah.
And then it always has a way of working itself out.
Are most of your clients, Bailey, like local people in Florida, or do you find a lot of people that come from out of state that want to buy a luxury property down here?
I would say so. Most of my listings are going to be from local people. And then my buyers are either going to be local people that were referred or people that will call on my listings. And a lot of them are most of them are from out of town.
Do you do anything intentionally to try to attract out of market buyers?
I have not in the past.
Okay.
This year, yes, just with some of the marketing that I'm starting to do, I will. But in the past, no. I mean, I really just relied heavily on my referrals, and my sole purpose was to honestly try to make it the best experience possible from start to finish. And when I say start to finish with each of them, it's, treating the lenders with respect and treating the inspectors with respect and treating the appraisers with respect. Everybody in between. It's not just the seller and the buyer. It's all the people that are part of the process. Because especially, our area is small. So if you get a bad reputation or you treat somebody not well, word travels pretty fast. And I've lived here way too long.
Don't want to put that at risk.
No, not at all. Not my integrity, not my reputation. No, thank you.
Now that you've had this career where you were in corporate, right? And now you've had this career where you've ran your own business in the real estate world. Like, what do you think you find the most rewarding about what you do now?
I answer to me. Obviously I answer to the people that I work for, which I feel like lately, it's a lot of time that's involving, that involves that. But the reward is, to a degree, I can make my own schedule. So I want to pick my kids up from school every day. And yes, they have sports after school or things like that. And yes, there are times where I have to pick them up, take them home and then go run out again and do a showing, but I still get to pick them up every day and I get to take them to school every day. And, I'm fortunate that if I do go out of town, I have awesome people that cover for me. So I'm not missing things like that, but that's for me is the reward. I get almost on every other day, I get a picture or a text from someone that I have either sold their home, or I've, found them a home, and it's their kids riding their bikes in a neighborhood that I knew that they would fall in love with based on everything that they had said that they wanted. That's cool. Or them going to a restaurant, you hit the nail on the head, Bailey, with this one, and sending me their meal, sending me the renovations that they did for a home, sending me pictures of the babies that they had in their new home, or a vacation property they were able to buy because of the home that I sold. Those are, that's the things that it's so incredibly
it's fulfilling.
Oh my gosh.
Makes you realize you're actually doing it and it's making a real difference, right?
It does make a difference. Though. That's like such the human aspect, is that you are actually making a difference in people's lives. For most of these people, it's the single largest investment they will ever make. And you're a part of that, and they're trusting you to help
especially
them
in your
process.
Space, because it's not as much, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you're dealing with as many like first-time home buyers, right? You're in the luxury market, right, which is not usually a first home,
right,
for most people. And so for many people, it is the dream home, right? Yeah. That they're looking for or building. Do you deal with new construction as well? Yeah. Do you do any sort of like client appreciation events or parties or things to try to maintain that culture?
It's so interesting that you said that. I actually just had this conversation with my husband. So that is one of the things that I'm doing this year. Okay. I haven't done that. I do a lot of personal things, like one-on-one things with the clients, and I'm pretty good. I think the nice thing about, there's so many pros and cons to everything. For me, for my business, for what I do, the nice thing about having 25 transactions a year, is that I really get to be on a personal level with these people.
You know their first names, you know their story.
We're friends,
right?
And so it's, they actually become friends, and some have become like family. And that is so cool, just to have that personal level of, expertise, but that personal level with each of those people, where you're truly a part of what it is that they're doing. Yeah. I love that, but that is something that definitely I'm going to be doing this year. And I just had this conversation, so it's funny that you asked that, because those are so important.
I sensed it.
Yeah, they're so important.
Do you know what you want to do yet? Or you're not sure yet?
I have a couple of ideas.
Yeah, we'll keep it a secret.
Yeah,
keep it
I like to do things. I like fun things. I like to do things different. So I've got a couple of ideas. But I do very much try to just do personal things for everyone that I've worked with. And that's I also touch base with all of them all the time. Just like a simple, even if it's somebody I hadn't maybe I sold them a house a year ago or whatever. I'm thinking about you, like how so-and-so doing with school, or they were doing this sport at the time, or you were going to be renovating I just got 2 pictures of a house that I sold, I think almost 2 years ago. They're finally doing this addition that they wanted to do, and they sent me the pictures. And I mean, it looks so good, but I love seeing that. Another one of my homes was just in a magazine over in Feather Sound, because they built this, the golf course they redid, and it's stunning. And they were in the magazine and on the videos, and it's cool to see them so happy.
Is there anything, again, now that you've been licensed for 8 years or so, and you've seen a lot of success over these 8 years, but I'm sure you've also had challenges along the way. Is there anything that still gets to you, or that you don't like about the business, the role you have, something that if you could change it, you would? Does anything come to mind?
I don't like some of the some of the misconceptions that people have, which is unfortunate. And that is their misconception of realtors, and it's people that want to get into the business, misconception that it's all flashy and you just kind of work when you want to work. And,
Isn't that how most people think about why they get licensed in the first place, right?
Yeah. And it's
just sit on the couch and have listings just come flying to me.
And that would be so nice. I mean, I had somebody one time that told me, how do you do what you do? And I'm like, I work. Like, I mean, I truly, especially in the beginning, I just worked all the time. I mean, 7 days a week, and I worked so much, and I missed so much. I missed a lot, but everything I did was to get that business to a point where I didn't have to do some of that anymore. And I think what people don't realize too is about realtors, and look, there's some not great ones. I mean,
sure,
there is, but that's in every industry.
There's not a huge barrier to entry, right?
But there's so many good ones. But we also, for a lot of us, and I would say the vast majority of us, we work our butts off. We really do. And we're doing it on times when other people don't want to work. So it's on the 4th of July or, Christmas Eve or whatever it is, you have showings. And I feel like people also don't realize that sometimes you could work with a buyer for 3 years.
Right. Especially in the luxury space.
Yeah. I mean, you could be showing them 75 houses over that period of time, and that's nights and weekends, and you might have dinner plans, but they flew into town and they want to see a property, so you no longer have dinner plans and you're out showing property. And it's times where you could spend a fortune in marketing and a lot of hours on listing a home, and for whatever reason, I don't know, the listing runs out, or you don't get what they want, they don't get what they want. And so I mean, things happen, but I would say that's the one thing I don't like is the misconceptions. There's not much we can do about it except try to prove people wrong and just keep doing the right thing and keep doing what we do.
Well, you're one of the good ones, Bailey.
Wow.
I think you're doing things right. Your business kind of speaks for itself because of it. Anybody who can grow the business annually the way you have without really heavily investing in marketing, which I know you're going to start doing more of that, you said, but I mean, you've been in the business over 8 years. You keep growing your volume. Anyone who does over 40 million in volume, and it's pretty much all referral based, speaks a lot to how satisfied your clients are. And so that's something you should be proud of, and why we're excited to have you on the show, and why we featured you in the first place, and also the fact that you were great on the panel too. So that was all good things. For people who don't know you that well personally, let's just for a few minutes dive into some more of your story. So you mentioned earlier you have 2 kids, 2 daughters.
Oh, there's 5.
5 kids. What was I thinking? 5 kids. And so how old are they?
So 27, 24, 19, 13, 11.
That's some gaps there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blended family.
And so what do you guys love to do for fun? What just keeps you busy when you're not selling real estate?
Definitely being together. I think it's pretty cool that we all enjoy being together as much as we do. We're horrible.
Are they all around here?
Oh yeah.
They are.
We're horrible at getting family pictures. But we're together, all the time, which is awesome. So whether it's being on the boat, traveling, we love to cook as a family, so that's something that's a lot of fun and important. Anything outdoors, we love the mountains.
Do you have a favorite place to go when you travel?
I I'm Blue Ridge, Georgia.
Okay.
Like super
Yeah, it's
fan
pretty
of.
up there.
I grew up going to Blairsville my whole life, so just I love that small town. I feel like it's not so small anymore, but I love the mountains. I love the solitude, and again, just everything outdoors. I love.
Yeah, we take our kids up to Gatlinburg a good amount.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Smoky Mountains up there.
Yeah,
they love it.
It's like
Very different than Florida for
yeah,
sure.
for all the vacations that we've taken. And what's interesting is from 11 to 27, their favorite vacations have always been when we've gone to the mountains and rented a house or something like that.
Right.
Those have been the best of times. And we've gone to some pretty cool places, and that's the place that they all want to keep going back to.
Yeah.
And it means,
well, growing up in Florida, you don't get to see a lot of mountains.
True.
So that it's unique and special,
it is,
right?
Yes. And it's a place that feels like home to me just because I grew up going there every year since I was a baby to the same spot. So it's definitely a part of home. And and we love the Keys. We love to fish.
Do you live right on the water?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have a boat?
We actually just sold it because we want a place in Blue Ridge.
So what they say is true. That's the best day is when you get to sell the boat.
When you when you can sell it for more than what you paid for it.
Right.
Those are good times.
Those are good days.
So it
yes.
was like that was a no-brainer, and all the kids are so active here. So it's like even when we are here, my husband and I, we took a thing, and I think it was from like September to March. How often are we going to be able to use this boat for those times?
Right.
And it wasn't much, so it just made sense at the time.
How long did you have it?
That one we had, I think, a year and a half.
Okay.
But we had another one. I mean, we've always had one,
right?
But we just sort of, if you can sell them right, then.
Well, that is the old
not?
adage, right? The second best day is when you buy it, best day is when you sell it, right?
So
I guess there's
we
some
love
truth to
it. We
that.
love being on the water, but we want to try something different. So we're holding out for a house.
But you're staying on the water.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean it's paradise.
Yes,
it's
makes sense. If you like water, you're in a good spot for it.
Oh
for
my
sure.
goodness, it's solitude. It's heaven. Yeah.
Couple rapid fire questions too, which I think will give the audience a little bit more information about you too. So, do you have a favorite like book or author or seminar, even that maybe even a podcast, other than our own, of course, that you've attended that you feel like has really made an impact on you or that you've read?
So, our CEO, James Wiggins, has a podcast. And of course, now I can't remember the name of it. But he does it with another, with this guy, Keith. It's part of the Next Home executive team. And I just learned about it probably about 2 months ago, and I'm obsessed with it.
Nice.
So
what do they
I
do
love
on the show, interview agents or?
They talk just about real estate, and they'll interview agents. They'll interview all kinds of people. I know that they had the guy on from NAR. The CEO from NAR was on. They do a lot, but you learn a lot. They're what's really, really cool about Next Home for people that don't know is that the majority, if not all of them on our executive team are just highly, highly respected and admired in our industry.
Mm-hmm.
And they're quoted all over the place. And
have you been with Next Home the whole 8 years?
No, I just started
recently. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm obsessed with it.
Okay.
I love it. And I haven't felt so passionate about where I have worked yet.
That's cool.
Until now. Like
just because of the support or?
Yeah, the support's been unbelievable. And it's from the top down. But I mean, the executive team, the CEO, the CFO, they're all, I mean, you can talk to them. Mm-hmm. Like imagine that mm-hmm. The head of the brokerage, the head of the company, you have access to.
Right.
And you're on a first name basis with them. They know who you are. I mean, how does that even, and they're knowledgeable and they're funny and they're cool to work with and mm-hmm. for, but they're impactful and you listen to them and you hear them. And
do you know Kent Rodahaver?
Yeah.
Okay. So
absolutely.
He's a friend of ours.
Yeah.
We've featured him
he's
a couple times. I know he's Next Home. Yeah. He's a broker with them. You don't work at his office, do you?
No.
Okay. Because I know he's in Pinellas County as well.
Yeah. They're awesome. And that's the thing is that they're all, their motto is humans over houses.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times with some of the I won't say that. I will just say it's incredibly refreshing to work for a company where the employee, the agents are just so passionate about what they do and who they work for. And there's a closeness to it. So regardless of the brokerage that you're at, it's not a competition. Like I feel
Right.
like I've had that
viewed
experience.
as a number only.
No, that's the thing. You are actually a person. So imagine working for a real estate brokerage that is nationwide, and you are a person, and you're not a number, and you're not, and it's not just business. It's like they really want you to focus on the experience that you have with your client. It's basically everything I've ever believed in and everything I've tried to do, and then I found it in a company.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I'm super excited about
Well, it
that.
always makes your business that much more fun when you enjoy who you're working with, you know?
It does.
And you feel like you have the team around you to help support you when you need it. All right, another question for you. Do you have a favorite movie or TV show?
Oh, gosh. Favorite movie?
I'm sure you sit around and watch a lot of TV,
Gosh,
right?
I don't, but I mean, classic Top Gun. I loved that
Top
movie.
Gun,
Yeah,
huh?
just
Well,
old school.
we haven't heard that one yet, I
Both
don't
of
think, on
them.
the show. Huh,
Both
Rob?
of them.
Top Gun? That's a new one.
I loved that
I mean, it's not a new movie, but it's a new nomination.
There's so many. I feel like I could go. I mean, there are so
Were
many.
you a fan
I
of
love
Top Gun 2 that
Godfathers.
just came out?
Yes, of course.
There you go. There you go.
You know, all the Godfather. I love stuff like that. I was seriously a Tom Cruise fan growing up. Oh my gosh.
Most women are, aren't
yes. His smile. It was his smile was just like
That's
electrifying when I was younger. I was like, oh my goodness. And TV shows, I mean, just kind of like the mindless shows. We'll watch things on Netflix.
Right.
Yeah, we're like, my husband and I are just a sucker for some of those things. I never watched that much TV, but then now it's just sort of relaxing to kind of unwind after a day and lose yourself in some sort of series or something like that.
So with Vasti, last name, I'm assuming Italian?
Yes.
So do you like to cook Italian food?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's got like his own this whole sausage. I mean, he makes his own sausage,
that's what I'm talking about,
and it's so good. Next time we
I
do
like
it,
that. I like that.
It's good.
My wife is half Italian, so she likes to make some pasta
so then
meals.
you know the
I
food
know
is
that,
good.
yes.
Homemade pasta and homemade pizzas and homemade sausage.
Can't go wrong.
And, no, I'm not complaining.
Have you ever been to Italy?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. We spent about a week and a half out there. It was awesome.
What part?
Rome and Florence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to go to southern Italy. I do want to see that part.
I've never been anywhere else other than that. It was just one trip, but I'd like to go back.
I love it. I just want to eat my way through there.
Yeah. And
mean,
the food
like
out
the
there,
homemade pasta
a
and
meal is like a 5-hour event. It's just they space it out
Yeah.
perfectly and they
But
don't
it's
stuff
so
you.
affordable there. I mean, I
Yeah.
felt like we ate like kings, and it cost like a third of what it is going out for, to dinner around here.
Right.
And it's all homemade. And
Yeah, we get fed like pigs here. It's just a huge dish and
my mouth is
stuff
watering
yourself.
thinking about like truffle pasta.
We're getting close to lunchtime.
Gosh.
All right, we're going to put a bow on the episode, but this is a question designed to get you to think a little bit, Bailey, about your legacy, right?
Okay.
And at some point, we all tend to hopefully sit back on that rocking chair and think about what we'd want to be most remembered for, right? What means the most to us, professionally or personally. What do you think would be the most important things for you that you would want to be remembered for? What type of legacy would you want to leave?
I think that's such a good question. I would want to be remembered for someone that loved and loved hard. Like if people would, when they thought about me, thought about somebody that was good to people. That's what I would want to be remembered for. Someone that just cared about people and was good to them. As far as like professionally, things like that, I don't really, I just would want to be known as somebody that was a good human.
Yeah, are you familiar with Tony Robbins' work at all?
Of course, yeah.
So he teaches these principles called the needs. He calls them the 6 human needs, right? And one of the whole concept is that all of us have the way we act, the way we operate is tied into those 6 human needs in some way, shape, or form. And we all have different priorities as to what those needs are. And we tend to operate in our top 2 needs of the 6. And one of the 6 is love and connection, right? I think that was number 3 on the list when he teaches the whole concepts. It was fascinating kind of going through it. He's got stuff on YouTube all about it. But in your situation, just hearing your answer to that, right? Obviously, love and connection is very high on your list from what you just answered. And then also the fact that you've built your business, if you really think about it, through that same exact need. It's been all referral based. It's been all about connection. It's been all about relationship. And I think the way you were describing your clients earlier, there's a love component there.
For sure.
And so it's been very aligned with the success of your business and obviously who you are as a person at your core. So it makes a lot of sense why you've been doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah, no doubt. Absolutely. It was great to have you on the show,
Thank
Bailey.
you.
For people who might want to pick your brain, I think we got a chance to dive in a little bit to your principles of success and how you've built the company, your team, and well, not your team, but your success
there, maybe,
and maybe a team. Also, just the referrals that we've discussed and the luxury side of things. If somebody wants to follow up with you and pick your brain, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
I'm on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, but just picking up a phone and calling me.
All right. You want to throw your number out there?
813-917-7139.
Perfect. We'll put it on the description and stuff too.
Yeah, just call. It's nice just to talk to people. So you get a lot of crazy calls sometimes. So maybe preface by saying you saw it
If you're
here
crazy,
first.
don't call. All right. Hold off on that.
Yeah, no, it's not. Things get misinterpreted with texting. So just picking up a phone and calling me or shooting me a message on social media so I can get back to you.
Perfect.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here.
Thank you.
We're going to put a bow on the episode with a challenge to the audience, which is what we always try to end with. And there's another thing that Tony Robbins teaches is the concept of anytime you listen to a podcast or read a book or do something that you're learning from, what is one action step that you can take as a result of that that's going to help propel you forward? Because if you don't take that action step, then you end up really missing out on the real value of what you just invested your time into. And so if you are watching us live on any of the social media platforms, if you are checking this out through your favorite podcast station, take one action step based on our conversation today with Bailey. That could be as simple as maybe reaching out to Bailey to have a follow-up conversation. She's accessible to have those conversations. It could be maybe doing some research on your own path of luxury real estate, if that's the path that you want to pursue. Maybe you're somebody who's been kind of thinking about getting into real estate, but you've been fearful of it. And just like Bailey made the decision years ago to dive in and just to swallow the fear and go after it, maybe that's where you're at. And you have to kind of decide the same thing. And hopefully her story might have inspired you a little bit to do the same. But do something, right? Reach out, take an action step so you can propel yourself forward. And that way the time is worth it that you invested in watching this podcast. We, of course, will see you on the next episode. This is podcast, again, is powered by Real Top Producers Nation. And if you don't subscribe already, just click the little subscribe button. That way, every time we have a new episode, you'll be notified and you know what the next one is going to be. You might hear a quick word from one of our other featured agents as we tally out here today. And we will see you on the next episode of the Tampa Bay Real Producers Podcast. See you later. Bye.
Hi, everyone. My name is Janina Wozniak. I'm a realtor with Future Home Realty. I have been licensed since 2014. I work the greater Tampa Bay area. I am grateful to be a member of the Tampa Bay Real Producers. It is a fantastic opportunity, not only for myself, but it offers so many additional great things for my clients in terms of the people that we're affiliated with and the top businesses, from photography to title companies to mortgage people. It really is a whole community of top agents throughout the Tampa Bay area.